welcome everybody. Hi, Daniel. Blendinator is in the house. Welcome, Drawn. Good to have everybody here. We're going to start here in about 6 minutes. Glad to have you. Hello, Philippe. Glad you're here. Andres is in the house. Hello, hello. Let me just check a few things, get all dialed in myself. Let's see if this one's working. Yep, that looks good. All right, glad you're here. Also, if you're already signed in, which is great, jot down the PIN number, and it should be in the bottom lower part of the screen during the live quiz. But for some reason, if it's not, and somebody joins late, please feel free to give them the PIN number and tell them to join the game live. It's good to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Nick, Fred, Sadashiv, Iqbal, Prashant. Oh, Prashant, first live session. Congrats. Welcome, welcome. I promise to take it easy on nobody. So glad to have you here. Thanks for coming to play with us for a few minutes today. Lots of people will schedule, as part of their studies, an hour on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time for my free office hour, which is on Discord. And then on Sundays, Pacific time at 11 a.m. for the quiz. And love to have you. Also, I have all these videos for the quizzes and all my CCNA related videos in 2 specific playlists on YouTube. So they're there for you if you want them. I think the quiz playlist has around 40, which represents 40 weeks of quizzes. And the CCNA playlist is well over 100, maybe over 150. All right, Eric is putting it out there. Here's my screen game name, says Eric. Expert Sphinx. Way to go, way to commit. Love it. JSS is here. Hello, hello. I am Mike is in the house. Good to have you. Balahi, good to always see you. Or I should say always good to see you. And hello, Ritesh. And we're 10100. Which is 16 plus 8. I guess that's 24. Welcome. That's the binary. Iqbal, if you want to DM me directly on Discord, there's a link in this video for Discord, for my Discord server. And you can DM me there, and 2 or 3 times a week, I will go through all those requests and respond. So that's a great way to reach me if you want. If you want some personal interaction, Discord's probably our best bet. All right, Mike is here. So Iqbal, the code for the game is at the top of the screen, and for Discord, in the link, it's an invite to the Discord server, and that doesn't require a code. I'm with you, Joshua. Let's do this. We're going to start here in a few moments. Thank you, Blendinator. You're always so generous. I appreciate you. Blendinator is one of our amazing admins, our moderators on Discord. I'm grateful for all the service that so many people are putting into helping other people. So if you want to join the community, you're looking for a study partner or motivation, check out these videos, of course, but also join our community on Discord. There's a lot of great people who are just salt of the earth, awesome people who know a lot and are happy to help. right, E-Angel's got the exam booked for the 6th of July. Feeling good? Excellent, excellent. Jay Lightsaber's taking the CC exam tomorrow. Our thoughts are with you, my friend. As a last step of preparing for the exam, I would recommend my playlist, my quiz playlist, which it covers, it does a really good sampling of all 6 domains. And instead of just going for your toughest ones, maybe look for the ones that you think you're good with as well, just to confirm that as those questions come up, you know the answers and why. Because Cisco, it felt, for this exam, it really felt like Cisco just wanted to verify whether or not the candidate understands the technology. And if somebody's been doing some labbing and study, and they understand most of the blueprint, you don't have to be an expert at CCNA, but you have to understand most of it. You should do very, very well. So good luck to everybody who's taking their exam in the next few weeks. And also congrats to all the people who've reached out to me over the last couple weeks and said they've passed. Congrats. Keep on studying. All right, we're going to start. And here we go. Welcome everybody to this quiz on wireless, specifically Wi-Fi, for the Cisco Certified Networking Associate. My name's Keith Barker, double CCIE, focusing these days just on CCNA here on this channel. First question, which QOS profile should be used on a voice over IP wireless local area network? And if you wait long enough, there will be some clues on the screen. Good luck, everybody. All right, so if you look at the screen at this point, you got a serious clue there. Now, the secret is if you answer the questions correctly and fast, you get more points than if you answer them correctly and slower. And also more points than if you get it wrong. So, yeah, that is the answer. All right, and welcome, welcome. If you're just joining this channel or this live quiz for the first time, welcome aboard. It's great to have you. It is Platinum, and if we take a look at the media here, this is the actual interface for the wireless LAN controller. And you can actually see virtually all this right in Packet Tracer. It's included, and I've got a couple labs at thekeithbarker.com. They are absolutely free. You can download them, have them, play with them, practice with them. And Packet Tracer is free from netacad.com. You sign up for a free Cisco NetAcad account, download Packet Tracer, and away you go. All right, here we go. That was just question number 1. We've got 12 more to go. They are all pretty quick. I think they're all under 60 seconds or less. And Space Seal is in top place. Also, if you would take a moment right now, if you've got the guts to do it, let's talk about that for a moment. If you're up for the challenge, I would love you to chat in and tell us what your game name is for this session. So it's not always the same, so it's going to rotate. But for this session, if you want to put it out there, say, my game name is, whatever it happens to be, that puts a little bit of additional pressure, and that way we know who you are as far as the chats go. So if you want to, challenge on. All right, here we go. So good to have all of you here. And here's question number 2. Which AP mode, access point mode, best supports users if there's a cap-wap tunnel that fails between the access point and the controller? And to wise urchin, honest seal, gentle rabbit, friendly squid, charming cat, red pigeon, great fox, lucky panda, rockstar alpaca, speedy eagle, quick sable, and cheerful glider. Way to put it out there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, dynamic bison, amusing swan, smooth cat, swift frog. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, it is Flex Connect, and that would, if you're not familiar yet with what Flex Connect is, I've got a few videos in the playlist regarding Wi-Fi or wireless, and you can look that up and that will explain it. All right. Also, if you're studying something, anything really, it's always a good idea. The best way I study is I read something. In fact, I often go to the actual official documentation from the vendor, and then I'll probably watch a video or two to reinforce it, and I'll lab it up. And then I also clarify any concerns I have about, wait, that doesn't work like I thought it would. And by doing those, reading some, watching some videos, and labbing it up, and then, clarifying your understanding is a great way to study Cisco technology. All right, here's question 3 of 13. True or false? It's a 50-50 shot. The access point must be cabled directly with unshielded twisted pair to a port directly on the wireless LAN controller for it to work. Is that true? Does it have to be connected directly to the controller? All right, Space Seal, Glad Snail, Carrying Wallaby. Nice work. Fearless. Yep, they don't have to be directly connected. That's false. The reality is you can have a wireless LAN controller, and maybe it's right here, WLC, and that's connected in some management network. And then you have APs that could be in almost any other VLAN, as long as they have, so here's an AP, here's an AP, here's an AP, VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30, and as long as they know who their wireless LAN controller is and have IP reachability on even a different network, maybe that's network 40, this is a CapWAP tunnel that's being used, carried by IP, so we don't have to, even though it has ports right here that we can use on the wireless LAN controller, the access points do not have to be directly connected. All right, here we go. Moving on. Here is question number 4. It is multiple select. It is double points. And I'm looking for exactly 2 answers. What is desirable for large wireless networks? Specifically, Wi-Fi networks. Duran is chatting in. Hero Duck. Fantastic. Again, thanks for everybody for showing up, leaning in, having some fun, and building your skills. It's worth it. Totally worth it. Okay, so when I see a question like this, I'm thinking, what exactly do they mean by overlapping APs, non-overlapping channels? In the 2.4 gigahertz range, at least in the US, we have 3 centering channels that are non-overlapping. It's 1, 6, and 11. And with those 3 channels, unless we're using bigger swaths than the default, which is also possible, but if we're using those center channels, it really means we're using all the frequencies in that range, off to the left and right, and they're not overlapping. So what we do want in a corporate network, if we have AP1 and AP2, let's just do 2 to start off with. Those are the access points. If we have a user who is roaming and they're going here, they're going around, we want to make sure that we have overlapping coverage. Let me put these in different colors. So perhaps this access point reaches that far, and this access point reaches that far. So we have a little area right in the middle here, which is overlapping. And that would be the overlapping APs as far as their signals, the signals that are being sent. But we don't want them to use the same channels. So we don't want this access point to use a center channel of 6, and this guy to use a center channel of 6, because then we're competing for the frequencies in that space that they overlap on. So maybe this guy could use 1, And if we had another access point, we'll go ahead and use access point 3. A perfect scenario would be for that guy, again, with some overlapping here. But this guy, as far as frequencies, could use 11. And that way, none of them have overlapping channels, but we have overlapping coverage for our enterprise. All right, good job. Let's continue on. Here is question number 5. It is multiple select, and I'm looking, and it's double points. I'm excited. Which are layer 2 security options for wireless local area networks? So that's the interface on the wireless LAN controller. I have it grayed out, so it doesn't show the answers. But which of the following are layer 2 security options for wireless local area networks? Hey, Umair. I'm doing great. Thanks. All right. Well, fantastic work. That's absolutely true. And I will leave this video up in the playlist so you can take a look at it and review these if you want to. Question number 6 of 13. It is double points. And it's this. What are the 2 format options for pre-shared keys, which is used for authentication in the world on the wireless LAN controller? 2 Cisco format options for pre-shared keys. And I am Mike and Joshua. Thank you for encouraging Kaye to join the quiz live. Perfect recommendations. Love it. Provided the pin and Blendinator, thank you too. Yep. Thank you for all the support. Appreciate y'all. So on this media that finally displayed, it kind of showed the format. There's ASCII right there. It shows, and the other option is hex. And the best way to reinforce this kind of stuff is do a few labs. So if you take a tour out to thekeithbarker.com, I think I have like almost, 20 or 30 labs per packet tracer, including wireless LAN controllers that you can practice with. Practice is the best way to build the skills. And I encourage everybody to do it. Packet Tracer is free. Rockstar Alpaca, first place with 14,158, followed by Gentle Rabbit, Amusing Squid, Charming Cat, and a Swift Frog. Love it. Keep the momentum moving. Which switch port mode is used to support lag, which is an acronym for link aggregation, on the wireless LAN controller? So like Ether channel. You want to use Ether channel between the wireless LAN controller and the physical switch. I say the physical switch, the layer 2 switch. Which switch port on the switch should we use to support that? All right. The challenge here is that the wireless LAN controller is, so this is our wireless LAN controller, physical one, and we have our switch right here. So on the switch, I'll draw the symbol for Ether channel, which is right there. If we want to do bundling of the connectivity between the wireless LAN controller and the switch, we're going to use trunking. And if we want to do multiple interfaces together, multiple ports with link aggregation. On the switch, they usually support things like, let's see here, my brain, PAGP, there we go, and link aggregation control protocol. So this is the standardized one, link access control protocol. And there's also a mode for just on. So these are our 3 options on the switch for doing Ether channel. And on the wireless LAN controller, the only option that exists is, the link aggregation. You basically say, I want these interfaces to be part of link aggregation, and it doesn't use PAGP, it doesn't use LACP. So on the switch, we just set it to on. So that's something you really can't do in Packet Tracer, but it's good to know for the real world, because if you do want to do Ether channel, that's how you pull it off. All right, let's take a look at the board here. So we've got Rockstar Alpaca in first place, followed by Gentle Rabbit, a Charming Cat, meow, Swift Frog, and an Honest Hamster. You know what? We just don't get enough honest hamsters today. So happy to see you on the top 5. Here we go. Question 8 of 13. Which access point mode allows centralized management? So I know we're using a controller, because that's how we do centralized management of the access points. But which mode are the access points going to be in to be allowed to be managed by a controller? Yeah, this is the video. That's a good question, I am Mike. I don't really understand the hint. It's not really a hint. The media is just like, who is the controller? Who's the access point? All right. So the video, the graphic was just for me. Fantastic. Lightweight is how we would configure or set up the access points, and that allows them to have a lot of the decisions and control passed over to the wireless LAN controller instead of doing it on the access point itself. If we took that same access point and we made it autonomous, that means I'm autonomous, says the access point. I don't need a controller. You have to come and work with me directly. And that's one way of remembering that. So autonomous is the access point. All by myself, don't want to be all by myself. Well, then become lightweight, dude. And then you can be managed by a controller. You don't have to be all by yourself. Here we go. Top is Rockstar Alpaca still not letting go. Here's question 9 of 13. It is multiple select. What are the minimum requirements on the wireless LAN controller to create a new wireless local area network? We've got 4 here. I want to create one more. There's at least 2 things that I have to do to be able to create a new one. What are they? And thank you, Joshua, for pointing out the website and game pin at the bottom right for a newcomer. Welcome, welcome. So Puzzle and Grover regarding mesh AP, that is not in the arsenal of the wireless LAN control. Well, from a CCNA perspective, I wouldn't worry too much about mesh as far as mode, but certainly you can Google that and get more information on it. But for CCNA studies, I wouldn't worry too much about the mesh option. So the answers are profile name and SSID. Fantastic. If you've gone through the Packet Tracer Labs and you've created a new VLAN or a new wireless LAN, you've been through that. So that's a great way to reinforce that. And here we go. Question 10 of 13. We have 4 questions to go. This is the 4th from the end. Which are valid access control list options on the wireless LAN controller? Ooh. And I'm looking for some quantity of answers here. It could be 2 or 3 or 4. So I would take all the time on the clock and think this over. Thanks, Blendinator. It is a little bit sneaky. And Kahei's asking, any vouchers for the winners? Nope. But all my services here on YouTube are free. So Discord is free, on my YouTube channel is free, the quiz playlist is free. Take advantage of that. There's there's actually hundreds of hours of training on CCNA. So it's all free here on YouTube. So feel free to leverage that. Okay, they're all true. These are all layer ACL options on the wireless LAN controller. So sometimes I throw in all the answers are correct, and this is one where I did that. And the Cisco certification, they're going to ask you, hey, just guess how many answers are correct. They're going to tell you, like, is it one answer with a radio button, or choose 2 or choose 3 with check boxes? No trickiness like this, but I just want to make sure you understand it and have a chance to practice your skills and demonstrate your skills. Gentle Rabbit, 20,000 points and higher, including Charming Cat, Swift Frog, Glad Snail, and Rockstar Alpaca. Okay, we've got just a few more here, and here's the third from the end. Double points. What type of encryption is used by default with WPA2 pre-shared keys? AES 256, fantastic work. And I think we have just a couple more questions and we are done. Gentle Rabbit has the highest answer streak of 11 with over 22,000 points. Oh, it's on. It's on. Here we go. 2 questions left. A CapWap tunnel is created between what? I'm looking for exactly one answer here. Thanks, Blendinator. That's funny. Yeah, whoever came up with the acronym CapWap, it's an acronym, but fantastic. CapWap. All right. Boom. Great job, everyone. I think we have one last question. Okay, so here's the top 5, and the last question is right here. Congrats to everybody for showing up, being a part of this. What is the main reason for using a wireless LAN controller? Looking for the single best answer. Thomas, you're very welcome. Thank you. All right. right, to essentially manage multiple lightweight access points is the perfectly correct and best answer. Way to go. And let's take a look at the lead at the podium. Congrats, everybody. You did it, Gentle Rabbit. You did it. Charming Cat, Swift Frog. Congrats to everybody. And let me go ahead and here, you know what we did? You guys did great. Overall, we did great. If we could all just go into this exam and take it together, we would do great. I guarantee it. Which ACL options are valid for the wireless LAN controller was the toughest, but man, all the other questions we didn't do too badly on. So that was great. And let me also get some feedback from you as well. So if you would, in their device you're playing with, whether it's a smart device or a website interface for Kahoot, provide a little bit of feedback for me, so that helps me with future quizzes. Also, if you want to schedule your quizzes, they're every Sunday, Pacific time, 11 a.m. I usually take an idea or two from the office hours from the day before, and then I use that to actually build or create the quiz. So feel free to join me on the office hours every Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific on Discord. There's a link in all of my videos for our free Discord server. I think we have like over 8,000 people there now. We're focused on CCNA. Just read the list of rules as far as what's allowed, what's not allowed. If you're kind, you're willing to help other people, and you're not going to disclose anything you shouldn't disclose, that's pretty much the rules, but there's a list of rules there as well. Again, it is absolutely free. So here's what I would love to do. Let me go ahead and change cameras there for a second. If you have any questions regarding these quiz questions that we had right after this in the Discord server, I'm going to hang out in the CCNA voice chat room for a few minutes, so you can just ask them. We can talk or elaborate on why something's true or not true based on the wireless, or questions about it. Also, it's just kind of a free for all. Sometimes we have a person come in and teach a topic or discuss. It's fun. So if you want to hang out for a few minutes, please feel free to do that. And if you have a question for me right now, just go ahead and do it at Keith Barker so I can see it easier in the chats. And I'll take a couple questions right now before we close it for today. So let me go ahead and make sure that camera, boom, that camera's on. That's always important. Yeah. I am so grateful that the country is opening back up. So it's fantastic. Last night, I live in Nevada, and my wife and I went to a few things last night, and it was so fun. It was amazing. So I think we're on the right track, and hopefully everywhere on the planet can get the resources they need to get past it as well. All right. So if you have a question for me, just go ahead and do a at Keith Barker and ask it. And if it's down there, I'll grab it real quick. And otherwise, we'll terminate. We'll terminate. All right. Now I'm working on some Palo Alto training at CBC. I guess that's my full-time gig. And one of the terms they have is they have wildfire, which is pretty cool. So let's say the firewall, and most next generation firewalls have things similar to this, where a transport protocol is being watched. It's carrying a file, and the firewall looks at that file, creates a hash, and says, is this hash match a database of signatures regarding malicious software? And if it can't find a hash that matches, it can then go ahead and ask the cloud. So the firewall asks the cloud, which is wildfire in the case of Palo Alto. And in the case of Cisco, it's Talos Intelligence. Anyway, the threat grid. Anyway, they ask the cloud, and the cloud comes back and says, after they analyze it, here's the details. But behind the scenes, they're doing statistical analysis. They're doing dynamic analysis, running it through VMs to see how it responds, what calls it's making to the file system registry, and so forth. And then they run it on a bare metal to go ahead and actually do more testing and analysis of it. And the term they use is detonate. We take the virus on bare metal and we detonate it, which is a fancy way of saying I think they run it. So it's super fun. All right, so let me see here. Joshua, you're welcome, Joshua. Happy to do it. Iqbal is asking, looking forward to chat in Discord. So every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, we do this quiz, or a quiz. It's always rotated. I update it and change it around. So that's where you can find me, 10 o'clock on Saturdays and 11 o'clock on Sundays Pacific time, Discord and this channel on this server, or on this channel for the quizzes. Okay, let's see here. And switch to form in either. Great. Good to know. So technically on the wireless LAN controller, it doesn't support link aggregation control protocol. It doesn't support PAGP. So if you have something on the switch on the other side where you specify that you want to use one of those two protocols, the key is don't expect the wireless LAN controller to engage and use those. So if it works, that's fine. It's great. But if it doesn't work, but technically on the switch, you should set it to on. But fact of other things work is great. Oh, you like the shirt? Thanks. There we go. I have a lot of fun with shirts. I do. Puzzle and Grover, you're very welcome. And Rishba, yeah, sure is. Name the triangles, Bob. Oh, I wore a shirt yesterday. It says 4 out of 3 people have problems with math. I get a lot of interesting looks at that. Like, oh, what? Thank you. And let me see here. Okay, a lot of questions about the shirt. I just answered that. Great. What's the futuring of network engineers? The secret is you don't really know what you're going to be doing 4 or 5 years from now. I don't. Well, I'll probably still be teaching, but I don't know what technologies I'll be working on. If there's something new and exciting, I may jump on that. So the fundamentals are critical for the future. So, IP is not going away. IP networks are not going away. And IPv4, they've been telling me, how long has IPv6 been out? For a couple decades? And they keep telling me, oh, yeah. Now they're like, okay. So about somewhere between 40 and 60% of service providers have incorporated IPv6 in the U.S. Based on the country, and it'll be different. So IPv6 is wonderful and great and everything else. I thought, but the reality is IPv4 is not going away. So you need to learn both and be comfortable with both, because going forward, we're still going to be using one of those two protocols, IPv4, IPv6, and the concepts of VLANs and broadcast domains, and the concepts of routing and administrative distance, and even concepts like spanning tree at layer 2, they're not completely going away, even as we change topologies. So it's important to be aware of all those. So focus on the fundamentals, and then follow the road where it takes you as far as excitement and opportunity. Like my first job in IT, I went to technical school back in 1985, 1986. Maybe it was 84. Anyway, I got my first job at, EDS, and I had no idea what I'd be working on. At that time, PCs were fairly new, and I just kept on, studying and saying, oh, that's interesting, and there's a need for it. And that's how I just tuned my career. So I went to Paramount Pictures and Blue Cross of California and EDS and a lot of other great General Motors. And I worked, anyway, a lot of great companies I worked for along the way. All right, let's see here. Is there an easy way to memorize the differences between the 802.11 and the letters? And I would say probably not. So just, there's like A, B, G, N, AX. So it will only take a few minutes if you just jot them down. And this exam isn't going to be about Cisco. I don't think Cisco is as concerned as, do you know what this acronym means? As, do you know how this protocol works? I would focus on that instead of the memorization of, like, how does spanning tree work? Well, if you study it and plan it, lab it up and practice with it, you'll get a chance firsthand to see things like designated ports, root ports, blocking ports, what is listening, learning, who uses it, rapid or standard, and what's the difference. So just by labbing it up, it's more important to understand how it works. And as you do, you'll actually come across the terminology as well. All right. Prashant is asking, any plans on starting a channel for CCDA? Nope. So in my full-time job at CBT Nuggets, we have a paid service for training over there. And I have a great opportunity there to do, training on lots of different things. Palo Alto firewalls, Firepower from Cisco, Checkpoint from Checkpoint, and also a lot of routing and switching and other really cool stuff. VMware, just finished some VMware certification training a few months ago. A lot of fun. So as far as this channel, the Keith Barker channel these days, over the last 12 years, 10 years, 11 years, I've had the opportunity of doing lots of different content, but these days I'm focused primarily on CCNA, helping people with their CCNA. And it's people ask me all the time, well, what do I need to get a CCNA? I would recommend some major course of study, like a course, you can get the official course or the official book, but something that covers all the details. This channel is not that. This channel is me picking out elements from the blueprint and thinking, you know what, that could use a little elaboration, or that could use some reinforcement, or let me create a lab. So I've got like 150 videos on CCNA topics from the last year and a half that's available for free. but it's not like a full course where you start here and end there and you're done and you're ready to go. So it's meant to be as an asset or resource. So get a course. I usually use a book, some kind of official course, and then lab it to death. And labbing it to death in the world of CCNA is free with Packet Tracer. And, after you really learn how to work with the technologies and routing and switching and everything else and configure it on Packet Tracer, then if you want to, you can go ahead and say, you know what, I think I'd like to spend a few $100s more and buy some gear that's going to be 80 or 100 watts of power per device plus noise and heat. Have fun. Lab it up. Nothing wrong with physical gear, except it does cost money and takes power. And it's also slower. So yesterday in the office hour, it was great. We had a question, I think it was from Eric. We had a question that came in and it was asking about HSRP, which is a fault-tolerant routing solution, or fault-tolerant default gateway solution, first hop redundancy protocol that we can use to, in case one router dies, your clients will still have a default gateway. And it's wonderful. And the question was, in a 3-tier architecture with the access layer, distribution, and the core, and with fault tolerance, how do you actually implement that? What does it look like? And I said, well, let's build it. So we built it together right there in the office hour. And we just used Packet Tracer, boop, 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 dropped in the power supplies, put some basic configs in, labbed it up, added a server, added a client, did a DHCP relay. I mean, we did tons of cool stuff to help reinforce the concepts. Vicky was there, and she said, Keith, you just put the same IP address for the interface VLAN 1 or one of the on 2 different switches. I said, what? I look back. There's a console message. Duplicate address detected. Oh, I'm so glad she's watching my back. And so we have a great opportunity to practice and lab it up and reinforce concepts. And that's the way to do it, is to study, dive into topics, use this channel as a resource for CCNA to help better understand those concepts, and then lab it up. And the keithbarker.com, also free. You can just download. There's 20 or 30 labs there in Packet Tracer. You can just go ahead and download for free. All right. And Michael's asking, is there a way to automate wireless LAN controller configurations for deployments? I'm sure there is. I'm not an expert on how to do that, so I don't know off the top of my head. But there's probably a way to automate almost everything if you've got the right Python programmer and you have the right APIs involved and accessible, and then you have somebody who can put it all together. There's probably ways to automate that. I am Mike. I don't have any OGIT merch yet, so I bought 100 shirts. A couple Cisco Lives ago, I bought 100 shirts, and they were all gone. Then I ordered another 100, and they're mostly gone. I think I have a few that I still wear, but that's on my list to get some merch going. This that way people can get a shirt if they want. Okay. Kai's asking, I have an access point and a wireless LAN controller, so what attributes do we use in Radius to control bandwidth on APs? That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. Although, what I would do if I had to, let's say I had a situation where I wanted to do that. I wanted to implement, control the bandwidth on the APs, and I wanted to use Radius to do it. I would look it up. I'd go to the Cisco docs, and I would look it up and then implement it. But I don't know off the top of my head. And that's okay. There's no way we're going to remember everything. All right, let's see here. What else? Thanks for the great job on the just released FTD. Oh, thank you. That's the Firepower course at CBT Nuggets. That's the only thing I've released for Firepower recently. Please, when should we expect ICE? I'm not working on ICE at the moment. So we have some ICE Identity Services Engine as part of Knox did a course on DNA Center. And as part of that, there's a section on ICE. There's some ICE content there. And then we did part of the CCNP security track, which also included ICE and 802.1x for authenticating. I did that part. And so there's a little bit of ICE in those two, but there's not like a full ICE course. ICE baby. And then they just went to 3.0 recently. And anyway, so at CBT Nuggets, we don't have a full offering for ICE at the moment. And I don't know one in the immediate future either. Okay, let's see here. Travis is asking, how do you keep such a passion for what you do? It's really fun. It's really fun to hang out with everybody. So that's a big part of it. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I started doing these quizzes and having online sessions and so forth. And then I got a Discord server and set that up, and the admins and moderators there. Thank you very much for all the support, because I don't do all the heavy lifting. There's a bunch of us that help make it all go. So as far as how do I keep such a passion for what I do? Having a commitment is something. So like today, I was up really late last night because Vegas is open. It's incredible. I was down on Fremont Street and I was like, wow, there's just so many people again. I'm happy to see it. So I had a commitment though of today at 11 o'clock. And so I knew I had the commitment. And so I rose to the occasion to be here. And so once I start, it's just like studying. Once we start, it's not so bad. And I really enjoy helping individuals who want to increase their skills to take that next step. And CCNA is a great, great stepping stone. It's not the end. In fact, it's never over. I remember when I got my CCA back in 2001, my first one, and I got another one in 2003. In 2001, I got that cert, and I'm CCA 6783. So I got it, a long time ago, and I can't believe it's been so many years. Anyway, I got my CCA, and then it's 2021. So I got that 20 years ago. Amazing. Anyway, I got the CCIE and I thought to myself shortly after, I don't know anything because there's just always so much more to know. So I would never take any accomplishment as I'm arrived because it's just an opportunity to keep studying, keep learning. And also doing this for the CCNA focus helps keep me refreshing on all the concepts. Like how many times are we going to have the opportunity to revisit wireless every 6 months or revisit spanning tree every 6 months or whatever it is that I get to do as an honor to help you in working on your CCNA. So it's fun to revisit. Okay, Blendinator saying it's a dual stack feature with multiple protocol stacks, IPv4 and IPv6. I think you're right. Iqbal's asking about blockchain. I'll save that for another outside of CCNA discussion. And layer 2 security isn't okay, so if you want to join me, it's H3N7YW1, if that is your real name. Join me in Discord right after if you want to ask that question so you can elaborate. That way you can talk to me in the Discord server right after this if you want. And Drawn saying, do you know Network Chuck on YouTube? Yes, Chuck Keith, Network Chuck, is a great guy. And we worked together for, I think, maybe a year and a half over at CBT Nuggets a few years ago. So yeah, great guy. I do know him. He and his wife, this is before they had as many children as they have now. It was like maybe 4 years ago, came out to Vegas and we were able to take him to a show. My wife is a performer at Cirque du Soleil. She was at Mystère for like a decade and then she was at O for a while. And now she's a backup for O in case they need her because she's semi-retired. And so we all went to O together. So Chuck and his wife and I and had a great time. O is at the Bellagio. It's a really good show. They're opening up. So end of the month. Oh, it is the end of the month. I think they're Mystère and O and a lot of the other shows, the big shows, are opening up this weekend. So, it's Sunday today. This week and next week, I think they'll all be open. So great. All right. And let's see if there's anything else that I can answer here easily or that it's a simple answer. Okay. And Tony is asking, what time are you using to time warp in Packet Tracer yesterday? Oh, so in Packet Tracer, which is a great tool and it's free. I just can't tell you how awesome that is because when I was first studying Cisco, like electricity was discovered and then I started studying Cisco. A long time ago, I had to buy gear and it was expensive back in the early days. And even now it's not free and it has to be shipped and everything else. So in Packet Tracer, which is free and it's fast, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's like a fast forward button. So if you bring up two OSPF neighbors at the same time, or what would be OSPF neighbors, and you're thinking, because they're both coming up at the same time, it's going to take 30 to 40 seconds for them to realize that, there's no DR here and they're going to have an election and one's going to be the DR. If you don't want to wait for all that, I think each time you click on the fast forward button, it's 30 seconds. Time warp. It's amazing. I love it. Spanning tree to converge. Click, 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 click. You don't have to wait for it. Because sometimes you wait for things like, I think I'll buy a puppy, or whatever. And you get distracted and then finally it happens. You forgot, at least I do. Where was I? So that's the time warp option in Packet Tracer. Bottom left-hand corner, little fast forward button. Eric is asking, is there an alternative like Packet Tracer for Juniper networks? No. I don't think there is something as full-fledged and simulatable as Packet Tracer, but for people who are like past the CCNA level and you want an environment where you can lab up lots of cool things, my go-to these days is EVE-NG, EVE-NG, and it's EVE Next Generation. it's been around for a long time, and I ignored it forever. And so currently I have a subscription for Cisco Modeling Labs annual from Cisco. That's a couple $100 US. And then I also have a license for EVE-NG Pro, which is like, it's a little under $200, and it's annual as well. Those are just good investments. And I use EVE-NG a lot. And then I use ESXi, which are these 4 rack servers behind me. Where am I pointing? Mr. Sloth is Mr. Sloth is hiding a blanket, which is helping deadening the noise, even with sound filtering and everything else. They get pretty loud if they're all cranking away. So for Juniper networks, if you are not entry level, consider EVE-NG, and I think you'll find some really great options there. I know if you're interested in Juniper, Knox Hutchinson just created a whole smattering of Juniper courses at CB2 Nuggets, but he also has a channel on YouTube. And so as far as building labs and working with EVE-NG, he's really, really a great resource and a great guy too. All right. And somebody's asking, what are other protocols which are similar to HSRP? Well, HSRP, I love the acronyms, HSRP, FHRP. A first hop redundancy protocol, it provides a default gateway that's redundant for the client. So the client doesn't care. They have a default gateway, and they don't care if it's router A or router B, as long as somebody's responding and taking those frames at layer 2 and taking in the packets and routing them. So the other 2 big ones are VRRP, which is an open standard, Virtual Router Redundancy Protocol, and then GLBP, which is Cisco's Gateway Load Balancing Protocol. So those are the 3 really, HSRP, VRRP, and GLBP. And let's see here, Spring Serenity saying, oh, you're welcome. Yep. Everyone around me says buy real equipment, but I'm not in a position to do that right now. Thank you, Spring Serenity, for being able to hear the fact that Packet Tracer is wonderful. It is. I mean, I have 7 kids, and if one of those kids came to me right now, any one of them, I don't care, and they said, I want to learn Cisco, I would say, great, I can help you. I can point you to the resources that you might want to study. I can, help answer questions. Just show up at my Discord server. I might give them a little attention, but they certainly could. And then I would tell them to use Packet Tracer. And if they said, I want to buy some gear, I'd say, well, great. If buying gear, this is the reality. Packet Tracer is it's a simulator. So it's not perfect in every possible way for every possible aspect, and that's okay. But for labbing stuff up, it's the best. And so if I had, one of my kids said, I'd like to spend, $70 or $80 US per router for a used one and for switch and get them shipped to me and then power them on. I would say you can do that, but just realize it's only for fun. Because in Packet Tracer, you can click on the rack view and you can see the rack of gear with the cables and they dangle and everything else. So if you want to do physical gear, great. It works, no problem. But I can tell you this, my wife, whom I love, asks me probably every couple of weeks, hey, you know that 7-foot pile? Literally. Actually, it's in two smaller piles because I didn't want to tip over. I've got almost 7 feet in the garage, in the corner, of gear that's stacked up that I just never power on because I don't need to. With a few clicks, I can launch it virtually in EVE-NG or bring it up in Packet Tracer, and it's wonderful. So virtual is the way things are going. And if you must have equipment, I respect that. But just realize it's more of a nicety, something that you want more than something you need. So just go for Packet Tracer, and for those, I'll get off my horse. And let's see here. The office hours, Chica's asking, is the office hours on Saturdays also here on YouTube? It's not. We don't record it either. So it's just on the Discord server, which is free. There's links in all my videos. And it's in the office hour room every Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific. So we hang out. I usually have a topic or two, take questions, and we usually have a lot of fun. I oftentimes learn many, many things. Yesterday, I learned that I moved too fast. It's like I had 4 or 5 things to configure. They're all in my head, like, rah! And that's when I made the typo, and I put in the same IP address, and Vicky said, Keith, duplicate IP address. I had a few other things, too, we had to troubleshoot because I was going too fast. All right, and 47J is asking about some Python. Fantastic. Hopefully somebody can help him there. And Katris is asking about CB2 Nuggets content and NSXT. That's VMware's network virtualization. Maybe. We are considering some additional VMware. I just finished VCP for 2021, the data center virtualization VMware stuff, which was so fun to do. So that's, Horizon, or whatever they're calling it now, and also NSX. those are strong probabilities. So if you subscribe to CBT Nuggets Twitter feed, they announce what's coming up and what's in the pipeline. So at the moment, they're not on the official build list, but they could be. So stay tuned. All right. Let's see. Okay, that was that. Let me see if there's anything else. All right. And King is asking, are you going to start a Fortinet firewall course? So somebody mentioned, I think it was in Office Hour 2 weeks ago, I was doing some firewall courses, and somebody mentioned Fortinet. And so I've never touched Fortinet. I worked with Checkpoint, Palo Alto, and Cisco's security products across the years, but I have not looked. So I started looking into it, and it looks like it's affordable. It looks like it has great functionality. So I'm going to look into it a little bit, but I don't know if there's enough interest at CBT as far as like subscribers who would want to see it. So I am interested in Fortinet and learning more about it. Once you've configured a few next generation firewalls, they're very similar. Like, hey, I can identify applications. I can do SSL decryption. I can do anti-malware, antivirus. I can set up reputations for websites and let you apply all those. So most of them have those same features, and some are better than others. But my top list would be, in no specific order, Palo Alto, Cisco Firepower, and Checkpoint, and maybe Fortinet if I learn it. So I'll have to look into that. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Dron's asking, what's the future of IT, Keith? Hey, here's the future. It's going to change, and it's going to use a lot of the same fundamentals, though, as it builds. So work on the fundamentals now, get good, and then whatever happens, follow it. Like, for example, in my early days, I learned SQL. I mean, this is like 25 years ago when SQL was new. I think it was new. I learned SQL. I don't use SQL. I thought, I learned it, the basic structures and how to do joins and foreign keys and primary keys and all that kind of stuff, which I can barely even remember now. And then working in security, while we're working with other systems, now I understand, why a SQL injection, how it works and why it could be devastating and how a programmer should prevent against it. So as far as the future of IT, I don't know. I know I'm not a SQL programmer and I'm not a developer. My career led me through networking, which started off with Novell back like many, many years ago, and then Microsoft. So I learned that with like Windows NT timeframe, and then Cisco in the early 90s. And Cisco and networking has been my core, but I also really love virtualization with VMware. And I also really love some other products like F5 has some amazing products. So I learn those and study with those, and I often create training on those as well. All right, let me see what else have I got here. This is from Psychosis, Psycogus, which I like the name. I'm not sure I can pronounce it. I like the title. I have a in-person interview next Wednesday as part of a Smart Hands engineer. Do you have a non-technical tip for the interview? Oh, yeah. I would say if a person can demonstrate and is willing to be a good team player and be nice, that's huge. Like, I can integrate as part of a team. Non-technical question. So, why should we hire you? Hopefully, you're adaptable and you're willing to be a team player and be able to support and help other people, and a continual learner. Like, whatever comes up, if it needs to be learned, I can learn it, or I have a history of learning it. So that would be a recommendation. Be a team player. All right, let me see if there's anything else. Shri is asking, any upcoming courses on CBT Nuggets you're working on? The way you explain things is amazing. Well, thank you for that. Let's see here. I finished Firepower a few weeks ago. I've been working on Palo Alto, the PCNSA, which is the administrator. And then I'm going to start kicking off next week. I'm going to start kicking off the PCNSE, which is the engineer, regarding Palo Alto, with step-by-step how to, make it sing and dance and behave. So that's coming up. And over the last year, it's been a whirlwind of amazing, fun stuff. So thanks for asking. Okay, let's see here. And then Josh Adams, I'm going to go ahead and my interface is saying, do you want to show this or not? I'm going to say yes. Josh Adams is saying that David Bombal is doing a course giveaway, one of which is Python. Go to his channel to get access. Perfect. David Bombal, Chuck Keith, Network Chuck. IT's Jeremy's IT Labs. There's a lot of great resources out there, and my hat's off to everybody. Some individuals are doing it for their living, which is understandable, and they do a great job. Other people are volunteering their time. So I would just encourage you to be kind to everybody out there who's providing any kind of service, especially a lot of the stuff that's free, and leverage them. But yeah, David Bombal is a great guy, and here's what I love about David. If I have a question about how does that work, or how do I integrate that, I know if I watch a David Bombal video, he is going to show me everything. He's going to be methodical, and he's not going to smooth over. Like sometimes with IT, we have to do a lot of troubleshooting to get something to work. And with David, he's not going to skip a step. Like if we try to follow him, I have high confidence that if we take David Bombal at his word, like do this, then this, and here's how that works, it'll end up like this. He's very consistent, and for that, I am very grateful. So anyway, David, way to go. All right. Iqbal's asking, is it good practice to send back and forth requests to the cloud for industrial? Okay, so that's not a CCNA related question. So I'm going to come see me in the Discord server after if you like, and we can chat about that. Another chat about the merch. Okay, great. And Vicky's lifesaver for beginning and networking. Oh, Vicky, thank you. It's so great to have everybody on board, and I appreciate those kind words. And let me see if, what else? Oh, Akshay is asking about GNS3. If you're in the CCNA level, I would say spend no time in playing around with any emulators. Just use the simulator for the free one that does all the basic stuff, which is Packet Tracer. And that way you won't get viruses by looking for things and trying to download things. You just use Packet Tracer and practice. And then as you proceed, if you're going to go further with Cisco, like at the CCNP level or beyond, then you could go ahead and look at some simulators. So the big ones out there are Cisco Modeling Labs, which is great, from Cisco. EVE-NG, which in my opinion is great, including the flexibility it has with other vendors. I mean, I did an SD-WAN course at CBT Nuggets for Cisco's VIP Tele solution, and I actually used EVE-NG to build the lab. I also built a lab for Palo Alto in EVE-NG. I built a lab for Firepower in EVE-NG. And so it's my go-to these days. But GNS3, I used that for a long time, and they're now owned by SolarWinds, and GNS3 is nothing wrong with that either. So have at it. And then also, GNS3, EVE-NG, CML. Yeah, those are the big three out there. And there's probably others, but those are the three big ones. And it's not like, like bragging rights, like, I'm using this. It's like, wait, I just want something that will let me practice and replicate like what the real devices are going to do. So if it's GNS3 or EVE-NG or whatever it happens to be, it doesn't really matter as long as it works. And sometimes there's a learning curve. So in getting it all working and going, it might take a day or two to put all the pieces together. And so have some patience. David Bombal has some excellent videos on how to get EVE-NG up and running and including images, and it's great. Okay, who is the CEO of Google? I don't know, you could Google that. Or use Bing. Use Bing and ask that question. So if you can Google something like that, please feel free to do it. No switching in GNS3. Ashke, we've done, you can put a little modular port in one of the Cisco routers that's supported and have like a little mini-me version of switching. Some of the commands are different, but I hear you. Okay, let's see what else. Will network engineering become extinct? No, ever, never. I mean, if there's a button you can push that just does everything, somebody behind the scenes, a lot of people behind the scenes are making that whole network function, including troubleshooting and setting up the APIs and the app. So, no. I mean, when AI takes over, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, maybe, but yeah. Okay. Let's see if there's any other questions for me. All right, News Now Fort Worth has some very funny comments. Thank you for that. And Poma from Russia is here. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. Let's see if there's anything else. Any plans for video training in McAfee, Web Gateway, or by CBT Nuggets? Not that I'm aware of. So I don't think it's on our radar. And Ahmed saying, what should I take after CCNA? That's a great question. Depends on what you want to do. Having it knowledge about system administration, which includes the Active Directory that glues most corporate networks together is Microsoft's AD. So having some knowledge regarding how that works and basic administration would not hurt you. Same thing with Linux. Understanding it, having a little bit of experience with it, not going to hurt you as well. All right. So for the MC, Microsoft changed their certifications a while ago. So Nick is saying the MCASA doesn't exist anymore, but they have something equivalent to that entry level. All right. Let's see what else there is. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me. In a few minutes, I'm going to be jumping over to the Discord server and just hanging out in the CCNA voice room. If you want to ask any questions about some of the quiz questions we had today, or chat with other people, it's pretty much just an open forum for open, nice, pleasant discussion. So if you want to join us, feel free. And if not, we'll see you in the next event, whether that's 10 o'clock a.m. on Pacific time on Saturdays for the open office hour, or whether it's next Sunday, every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time for another quiz. It'll be great to have you. So let me send you out with some music and my appreciation. And until then, be kind to everybody. Keep on studying. You can do it, and it is absolutely worth it. Catch you next time.